I have the privilege of welcoming everyone today. My name is Cindy Bonnier, and I'm with the CEO of the Fremont Chamber of Commerce. And today we are here to celebrate Asian Pacific Heritage Month. And we have an esteemed group of folks with us today. We have Dr. Herbert Chiu, who we are honoring for his dedication and commitment and the things that he has done for the during the COVID-19 crisis. Our Mayor Lily May, who has also been very, very busy, seeing what she can do to add to that. Dr. Raj Salwan, our Councilmember Raj Salwan, who is also, I guess, just came in from the police department after delivering more masks. So we're all busy doing that. That's what I spent my morning doing as well. And Representative Ro Khanna, who has also been busy behind the scenes trying to get legislation passed and doing some other things for us. And we also have Ken Maxey with us, who's Director of External Relations for Comcast Corporation, who's our sponsor today. Thank you very much, Ken, for being here and being a part of this. So we're going to start it by having the mayor make some remarks and bring us up to date on what's going on, but you're going to share with us some thoughts about the Asian Pacific Heritage Month. Yes. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Mayor May.
Sure. So hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday, and thank you for taking the time today to join us today for celebrating Fremont Chamber of Commerce's first Asian Pacific Heritage Month virtual celebration. On behalf of the city of Fremont, we would sincerely hope that you and your families are doing well. I want to thank Cindy Bonnier and Matt Seneca-Ranian, and the Fremont Chamber of Commerce and Comcast, Ken Maxey, the Director of External Relations, for helping us pull together today's recognition. It's been really helpful during these times to have the opportunity to connect with our peers, with local businesses and community members. And I also wanted to acknowledge and to specifically also thank our City of Fremont Economic Development team and all of our staff who have been working hard behind the scenes, working in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and our historic business districts on developing, sharing, and implementing resources for our communities. I also want to share my appreciation for my fellow council member, Dr. Raj Salwan, and Congressmember Khanna for taking the time today to share some of their remarks as we continue to celebrate and support one another. As we're having this dialogue today about diverse leadership, it's important to highlight that May is Asian Pacific Heritage Month, and it's imperative that we recognize the many contributions that the Asian American community have made and the sacrifices that we continue to face, especially during some of these challenging times and some of the discussions and dialogues that have been happening in our community. For generations, AAPIs of all backgrounds have been inspirational examples of leaders and trailblazers and have a long-standing history of making esteemed, significant cultural, economic, and community contributions across the United States of California. America and California, and a vast community here where we have diversity of languages, religions, cultures, traditions of the Asian Pacific and American Islanders, which continue to foster and strengthen the fabric of our American society. And so AAPIs, just to let you know, are one of the fastest growing ethnic populations in the nation, as more than 1 million Asian Pacific Americans reside in the Bay Area, and Fremont is fortunate enough to be one of the top 10 cities in the United States for Asian Pacific American. So again, thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to share about one of our own hometown favorites and who have been helping out in these challenging times to address the solutions that we need to provide our community with the ability to safely transition. And so with that, I wanted to turn this over to our sponsor, who is Mr. Ken Maxey of the Comcast team on his external relations and sharing of what they are doing in partnership with the community here to address the needs that we're seeing with COVID-19 and also just as a whole in recognizing the diversity in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor May. You've done some fantastic work, and it's been noted around the country with your work with the U.S. Conference of Mayors as well as the National League of Cities. And I just want to commend you for everything that you're doing to represent not only Fremont, but the Bay Area and California nationally. Hello, everyone. My name is Ken Maxey. As said, I'm the Director of External Affairs with Comcast NBC Universal. one of my hats I wear is to focus on diversity and inclusion. And so today I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and then also a little bit about what we've done during the COVID crisis. Number one, Comcast NBC Universal, we believe a diverse and inclusion company is more innovative and successful when we all work together as one. As such, diversity and inclusion is essential to our culture and business. We work to make every employee and every customer feel valued and respected for who they are. And when we strive to meet our customers' needs and for their interests by providing continuous access to diverse programming, for example. However, special moments like the Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month provide us with an important opportunity to go above and beyond to celebrate the Asian American community remarkable contributions to American culture, film, science, sports, and history. And so some of the things that we've done over the last month have been collaborating with Gold House, an organization that's listed the 100 API members that are doing some great work around the country. We've also, to support API community response to the rise of anti-Asian hate incidents in the US amid the COVID-19 pandemic, we had a community impact effort where we awarded a grant to the National Council of Asian Pacific Americans and the Asian Americans Advancing Justice to support the work of COVID-19 Task Force and build out the AAPI Emergency Response Network website. In addition to that, we have an employee resource group, which is phenomenal, led by some of our local employees, some of which that live in Fremont. And they're just doing fantastic work ensuring that we are staying engaged and involved with the API communities throughout the Bay Area and Northern California. And so I want to commend them for that. And then, I would like to also say that we are with a lot of the local businesses. They're up and running in regards to their capabilities technologically. And so we've been working along those lines as well. Unfortunately, we are working in the same circumstances that many of you are, not knowing what the next day is going to be without a vaccine. And so we are working diligently, but safely and precautiously today to ensure that our employees and our customers are, in many ways protected, as well as in a very safe way. So, one of the things that we know that is important, and we've seen in this experience, is that broadband has become a very essential part of life. And so the COVID-19 pandemic calls for re-examination of the preparedness of the United States to combat pandemics and other emergencies in the future. In our sector, in a week's time work, education and entertainment moved from offices, schools, and theaters to home. This unprecedented pressure on internet networks, a focus on the importance of broadband connectivity for all Americans during emergencies. Ensuring continued strength of our broadband networks and expanding connectivity should be part of any legislation of the pandemic and its aftermath. And I want to thank Mr. Congressman Rokana for his meeting yesterday with Congressmember Jim Clyburn for the work that they're doing in regards to expanding and bringing the importance of broadband to the forefront like it ever has before. And so after the pandemic struck, decided to do a couple things to help those that needed to be helped. One was we opened up our public Wi-Fi hotspots for everyone, even if we're not a Comcast customer. Secondly, for every low-income community member that could qualify, and most do qualify, for our Internet Essentials program, you could get it for 2 months for free and then get the low price cost of $9.95 moving forward. We've seen a significant jump of families and students in particular that need this resource more than ever. and we're helping, and we're right there with them in the struggle and trying to make sure that they're connected. And lastly, I would like to say that one of the things that we've also found as a good, one of the answers to the digital divide is working with large organizations and or philanthropic community. So we have offered through our Internet Essential program, which is made for low-income communities, that if an organization or a school district wants to purchase a certain amount of months at the low cost price of $9.99, that they could do that through their efforts. And so I'm happy to say we've partnered with Sacramento Unified, who's committed to signing up to 10,000 of their students. San Francisco, some other school districts, as well as community college districts that have said, you know what, we know our students need to be connected, and this digital divide is not going to stand, and we need to work together with the public-private partnerships that exist, and we're one of those, and Comcast has been working on that. So with no further ado, I know I've been speaking for a little bit of a minute now, but I just want to thank everybody for making this possible. AAPIs are important into the fabric of our country, as well as the state, and particularly the Bay Area and the city of Fremont. So I'm just happy to be a sponsor. Congratulations to our awardee today, and I look forward to hearing from everyone else. Thank you. And I think I'm supposed to introduce, or is someone supposed to introduce Mr. Salwan?
Sure, please, go ahead.
Okay. And so it is without further ado that I recognize or acknowledge the man with many plans as a council member, and has a great future, not only in Fremont, but in a lot of other places across the Northern California Bay Area, Mr. Raj Salwan, council member, Fremont.
Thank you, Dr. Ken. I appreciate everybody bringing us together. Thank you, Cindy and Fremont Chamber of Commerce, and thank you, Madam Mayor. And of course, our esteemed Congress member, thank you for joining us. Really impressed with all the town halls you're doing and all the good work you're doing. So I look forward to hearing from you later. So I'd like to thank the Fremont Chamber of Commerce for recognizing the contributions of the Asian Pacific American community and of small business owners like Dr. Herb Chiu. We often hear a lot about large businesses and they get all the glory, but the small businesses are the lifeblood of our community. And small business owners are America's greatest job creators. And this is significant because small businesses produce most of the new jobs in this country. Almost 2/3 of all new jobs are created by small businesses, and they lead the way in reviving the economy after a recession. They are the anchors of our Main Street. And the entrepreneurial spirit is what makes America great. The idea that if you've got a dream, you're willing to work hard, you can succeed. And that's what leads a worker to leave a job, to take on the risk and become your own boss. And that's what propels workers to put it all on the line as a business owner. Early on, many Asian Americans chose to start small businesses because they were often not employed by mainstream business owners, because they looked different or they were assumed to know less because of language barriers. Many had no choice but to start a business so they could chart their own path and work more hours to pay their salaries. And this is how many achieved the American dream. It's this promise of upward mobility that has drawn so many to our shores and made America so strong. And during this pandemic, small businesses, along with our middle class, have taken the brunt of the damage. And I do believe that small business owners are strong and are resilient, and they will bounce back, but we need the support of our local community as well as our government officials. And we need to ensure that the fiscal policy stimulus helps our Main Street along with Wall Street. Thank you again to all our small business owners for all you do. And my heartiest congratulations to Dr. Chiu for your wonderful services as a small business owner, a great person, and all that you do to serve our community. Thank you. I guess isn't next we have our Congress member, Ro Khanna. Right, Cindy? Okay.
Thank you, Raj Salwan, for your incredible leadership for our city. I've appreciated our collaboration and working together on issues of infrastructure and transportation funding and small business, and really appreciate your counsel and partnership. I want to thank, of course, our mayor for her leadership and her incredible response to the COVID crisis, being one of the first cities in the Bay Area to take decisive action. And I'm proud of our city council for having done that. If you look at the mortality rates, the hospitalization rates in our county, it's some of the best in the country. And it's because of the decisive action of our local officials. And Cindy, thank you for your leadership at this time. I know small businesses are hurting, and you've been a source of counsel and strength for them. Dr. Chiu, congratulations on a very well-deserved honor. You've been a leader and pillar in our community, and appreciate that. I just want to make sure that people reach out to our office, or if you know small businesses that are struggling, reach out to our office on the PPP loans. Some of those loans have not gone to the people who needed them the most. Unfortunately, they went to people who were connected with the banks or some of the mid-sized companies, 200, 300 employees who got millions of dollars of loans, and some of our small restaurants and florists who needed a couple $100,000 didn't get it. So we made some changes to it, and our office has been able to help quite a lot of people in going through the process, especially if they don't have a particular connection to a bank, to make sure that they're getting the appropriate relief. And I'm going to continue to fight for more PPP funding and making sure that that's getting to the appropriate businesses. So please contact our office if we can help, or if you know a small business that needs help with that program. I also am pushing right now, I'm in DC, we had a vote today. We're pushing to make sure that we can get more funding for the cities and state. As Mayor Lily May knows, and Councilmember Salwan, that our state is in a $54 billion budget deficit. Our cities have been hard hit. We need the federal government to step in for funding so that essential services aren't cut, so that a city doesn't have to lay people off and can continue to do the excellent work. My last point, I just want to thank the Chamber, our small businesses, for the inclusive way you've conducted yourself in this Asian Heritage Month. I want to really salute our community for coming together, for not engaging in xenophobia or hate, for recognizing the importance of our diversity as our strength. And that is a source of pride for me as I represent this area. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative Khanna. I appreciate your time. All of you have been, our mayor, Councilmember Salwan, Representative Khanna, and Comcast have been enormously helpful during this time to help businesses through this. And I know that you have to work within a lot of confines, but you're trying to be as flexible within those confines as possible. And as frustrated as we are sometimes, we know that you're fighting for us, and we really, truly appreciate that. I am not a huge fan of real long bios, because I always tell that I always tell my staff, please don't put everything I've ever accomplished in my life in a bio. But I will say that I am going to read all of Dr. Chiu's bio, because I went through it trying to figure out what the most important thing was, and there's just way too many important things. So if you'll bear with me, because this really, I didn't realize all this about Dr. Chiu, and it's impressive. So with that, I'm going to start this. Dr. Herbert Chiu has been a dentist in the Fremont Union City area since 1985. He received his undergraduate degree with honors from Oregon State University School of Pharmacy, and his dentist degree, DDS degree, with high honors from the University of the Pacific School of Dentistry in San Francisco. He is very involved in the surrounding communities and has chaired and volunteered in many charity projects for health-oriented nonprofit organizations, as well as traveling around the world to provide dentistry to the underprivileged. He is the Health Committee Chair of the Citizens for Better Community and has served as a board member of the Mission San Jose Chamber of Commerce, American Cancer Society, California Chinese Unit, and Asian American Donor Program. Although Dr. Chiu has been in this country for most of his life, he is fluent in Mandarin, Cantonese, and the Shanghai Chinese dialects. When he is not doing dentistry, he also enjoys live music, which many of us have had the pleasure of hearing at events, traveling, and fine dining. So with that, I want to be the first. It's kind of anticlimactic on this because I have nothing to hand you, but I just want to let you know how much, Dr. Chiu, we appreciate the contributions you've made. I know that you've done an enormous amount of fundraising for the masks that we are able to give out to small businesses, as well as been behind the scenes and a lot of things. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you with our gratitude. And I know you have some thoughts to share with us about what's been going on behind the scenes. So ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Chiu.
Thank you, Cindy, for the introduction. And I saw that you, and actually I was surprised this morning. Somebody show a Facebook. They tagged me on Facebook. I think Lily did. So now I was reading that. Oh my gosh! And that was a long introduction. I was hoping that you won't read the whole thing, but thank you. I'm very honored and appreciative of this opportunity to speak to everyone, and especially Congressmember O'Connor, Mayor Lily May, and Raj Sawan, the City Council member. And I know each one of you for many years, and we have worked together on many projects. Let me just tell you about this, what brought me in here today. About mid-January, as you can see, as the Western world started to hear this terrible virus, a disease that's affecting the entire China, especially the city of Wuhan. And at that time, we didn't pay too much attention to it, and we just think that it could be, a disease that be contained because the WHO has now announced it's going to be a pandemic, and they just think it's an epidemic and that could be somewhere it could be in control. Then, as a Rotarian, there's something that's not in my bio. I'm also a Rotarian. And then I do travel quite a bit, because my mother used to retire in Hong Kong and mainland China. She recently passed away at 100 years old, by the way. So when I was visiting there, I always tried to make my Rotary meetings, either in the city of Shanghai or city of Sichuan. That's where my Chongqing, that's where my wife's at. So I met some international Rotarians. So now I'm on their email list on the WeChat list. And then one day I received an email pleading people in the United States to help China providing some PPEs. And they need a lot of stuff, gloves, masks, gowns, and goggles, and you name it. So we look at it, and they were saying the situation is really, really pressing, especially in the city of Wuhan. So they asked what we can do here. So Napoleon, could you go to the first slide? So as you can see, I'm a founding member of CBC, and so I thought about it going with other organizations, but none of them think that they have the ability to put this project together unless CBC can take a lead. So I said, well, that's fine. Then, so after the board discussed this, and we decided to CBC be taking the lead. And on the letter, as you can see, there's 4 other organizations that joined this movement. So they're basically the Huarun Rotary Club, and they also there's a group called the Bond BH, the Bay Area Homeowners Network, and there's some student groups. They decided to join effort. What we want to do is we said we want to raise some money. We just set a very simple goal at that time, maybe $100,000. And then because of social media, we sent out a whole bunch of social medias and posted this particular letter. To our surprise, within about 2 weeks or so, we raised over $20,000. So I said, wow, with lots of money, we will be able to do a lot of procurement and what we should do. And then we decided we were looking at masks and gloves. But at that time, masks is getting harder to get, especially the good masks in the United States. And then some of the members also were worried about in the future there could be a shortage of masks in the United States. So we decided to donate gloves for a couple of reasons. One is that they need gloves. Two is that being a dentist, I know vendors who can sell us a large quantity of gloves. And third thing is that we don't have to worry about, buying up all the masks, and then later on that we maybe have problem here, shortage here. And then actually the fourth reason, gloves can always be used in the hospital once this pandemic is over. So once that's decided, we used $20,000. We bought almost 500,000 gloves and weighed at 1.3 ton. I didn't realize how heavy it is. Can you go to the second slide, please? Yeah, we have 3 pallets, about 7 feet tall, 4 feet wide, like this, and came to my parking lot. And this guy helping me unloading it. Next slide, please. So once we put it in the parking lot, and this lady you see there, her name is Lynette. She is one of the Shanghai Rotarian member, and she actually moved to the United States. Now she's in the Palo Alto Rotary Club, so she came look at it. Next slide, please. And this is the 5 organizations. Actually, the little sign you see there, there's actually more than one organization there. So we all decided that that's what we're going to do, and we picked 2 hospitals. They're in the heart of this pandemic at that time in China. And then another thing we learned that we didn't know how to ship them safely, because there's a lot of regulations, custom regulations, checkpoints here and there. So through introduction, we were introduced to this shipping companies that affiliated with Alibaba, and they shipped this whole thing for us for free. And so somebody paid for it. I think Alibaba paid for it, but they just looking for large shipment, and we got one of the high priority, because I was told that was the biggest shipment at that time from the San Francisco Bay Area. Next slide, please. And that's after it arrived one of the hospital. 2 hospitals, they split it. So one hospital had to come to this destination and pick up half of it, and this gentleman is picking up half of it. Next slide, please. And that's the hospital. They displayed everything. That's half of the shipment there. Display everything right there. Next slide, please. And that is the other hospital they came by to pick it up, and then that's a group picture, thumbs up for our donation. So we thought this thing's over and we don't have to do anything after that. So I think it's quieted down. However, as you know, the disease spread to the other parts of the world, including this country, of course. Next slide, please. Hold on one second. I need to get into. Yeah. So the WHO declares this a pandemic, and this country we're really, really short of PPE. And I have friends who work in the medical field, nurses in the Washington Hospital, doctors, Palo Alto Medical Foundation, all telling me horrible stories about they don't have masks, they don't have gowns, they don't have anything. So we said, well, we have to do something. So again, CBC took a lead, and this time we have 5 other organizations join forces. 2 of the previous one, and then we added Silicon Valley Chinese American Association, also East Evergreen Chinese American Association. Next slide, please. And we set a goal for 25,000, and this slide shows the yellow highlight. At that time, within like 2 weeks, we raised 67. Now, as a matter of fact, we raised over 70,000. So first thing we do, we got masks. I contacted about at least 10 different brokers and factories, and they start sending me samples. Next slide, please. One thing I want to make sure, because in the medical field myself, I want to make sure the quality of the masks are good. They otherwise, be wasting our time, money, and also putting the medical staff, their health and life on the line, which we don't want to do. So we have them ship us different samples, and then we have this independent lab who test it for us. Next time. And so the KN95, KN95 is kind of N95, and KN95 is a little bit different standard. Has to be at least 95. So we tested a few of them. A couple of them failed. We didn't buy from them. But this particular brand, the lowest one's 96.3, the highest one's 99%. And those are the ones we procured and that we donated to like Milpitas police department, the fire departments here. But we got most of the surgical masks. Surgical masks is level 3 surgical masks that we give to. So our goal is try to get out the mask to people as soon as possible. Next slide, please. So we sent out survey to ask who wants it, and we have like over 100 people, 100 institutions request wanting them. And then, so we sent out these, whatever you see, the slide you see there, and they were actually gloves. So since we have lots of money, we bought about 45 to 50,000 masks, and then we bought over, and then again, over 500,000 of gloves. And some of the picture you see, those some of the institution came to pick it up. Since we don't really have a truck to deliver all this, and what we did is we have the warehouse, which is located in Oakland. They just come pick it up. So these are the pictures that you see people come from different, all over the Bay Area to pick them up. Next slide, please. Yeah, this guy, I remember him very well. He is a chef at the Rossmore in Walnut Creek. And, it's a kind of a retirement place, and they really, really showed them the gloves. So they got a big batch of the gloves from us. Next slide, please. And this is the Kendra Hospital in San Leandro. They got the most. They got 25 cases. Each case has 10 boxes. Each box has 300 gloves. So, you can do the number. They will have enough gloves for last for a long, long time. Okay, next slide, please. After we spend all this money, we find out we still have some money left. So this picture you see there is a medical doctor. His name is Dr. Albert Wan. Most of you know them. He's wearing one of these masks. He sent me a picture. Said, Herb, how do you like this kind of facial? I said, well, where do you get them? I can have a student group who make them for you, but they don't have money. I said, well, that's good. We do have some money. We have the student want to do it, and you tested, you liked it. I said, let's do it. Next slide, please. So a group of about 40 students, they're all in this Mission San Jose and maybe Irvington area. They got together. They are very, very creative. I don't have time to share them out. They actually made a video how to make it, and distribute to all the volunteers so they can learn step by step how to make it. And then one of the things, you see this lady cutting the foam. Before they got to know me, they were using knives and scissors to cut them. Then I find out there's a foam cutting device I can borrow from one of the handyman. He made it, and it speed up the process by 20 times. So they said, okay, before they just gonna make 1,000, they end up making 4,000 face shields. Next slide, please. These are two of the student leaders. They do it individually at their own homes. Next slide, please. That's their finished product. Next slide, please. And then we start sending out to Washington Hospital. Next slide, please. Tri-City Health Center. Next slide, please. Friends of Children with Special Needs. Again, next one, please. I believe this is a hospital in San Jose somewhere. I got so many. I have over 200 pictures from different people sending to us. I just picked some of them. Next slide again. This was a Veterans Hospital, I believe, down in San Jose. So after all that, we still have some money left. Still have some remaining face masks that we have left. The next slide, please. So as a Rotarian, I approached the Area 3 district assistant governor, Lisa. Lisa said, hey, let's put together a District 3 project. So we have 7 Rotary clubs in this area. And then Fremont Rotary Club actually bought more masks from the same vendor that I bought from. in addition to the ones that we have left over, and then we distribute to all the Rotary clubs and give out to all the people very quickly. Within a week or so, it was gone. You know, we have close to, I believe, 15,000 or 14,000 masks gone. So that's all we did. That's all we did during this thing here, and I learned a lot from this process. You know, and being a dentist, then I find out that all my staffs, you know, have a very high risk of getting the disease. So once we reopen, we need all those masks. So it kind of helped myself too a little bit, and then helped some of the doctors in the community to buy some of these masks. So that's all. I told Cindy it's going to be less than 5 minutes. It's more like 10 minutes. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No problem. Thank you. That was amazing. And I like the way you ended it. Well, that's all I've done. But you have done amazing work and have supported so many. So we're very grateful to you for what you've done for our community and to help us during this time of crisis. Thank you so much. We do have a certificate we're going to get to you
Okay.
some point. Sorry, I would love to be able to hand it to you.
I'm reaching over. Just hand to me right there.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, thank you so much. And I just want to wrap this up by again thanking Dr. Chiu for his work, thanking Mayor May, I always say Dr. Salwan because he's my dog's vet, so it's just a habit. I want to thank Councilmember Raj Salwan for the work he's done as well. And then Representative Rokana, who had to drop off the phone. And I also want to do special thanks to Ken Maxey, who's been very supportive of our chamber, helping us organize this whole thing and just being a real driving force in some of the issues that we've had. And I mean, we always reach out to our sponsors and thank them for their monetary contributions, but he's really spent a lot of time and effort with us to help us make steps forward in many things that we've done. So thank you, Ken, for what you've done for us as well. So with that, I am going to end this and thank you all so much. Please stay safe, and I'm looking forward to a time when we can all be together again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.